practice. Madam Clerk? We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to the October 8, 2015 meeting for the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook, serve as the chair, also representing District 2. Joining me today is Commissioner Shelley Bueller, representing District 1. Good morning. Commissioner Bob Archer, representing District 3. Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk, if we could start with our first item.
Our first item is item 2, unfinished business. Number 1, consider approval of request to destroy the 2012 primary and general ballots, the 2014 USD 501 mail ballots, the 2015 city primary and general ballots, the 2015 USD 437 and 501 mail ballots, and the designation of election office staff to be present during the district elections.
Good morning. Edie Zarger for the Shawnee County Election Office. We're requesting pursuant to 25-2708, we'll be allowed to destroy the ballots that are of time to do, and also for a date in January to take care of the 2015 elections.
This is a lot of destruction going on. Can you tell me why it is that the Elections Office would be doing this? And also, there's a part at the very bottom of your memorandum that talks about designate, quote, electors of approved integrity and good repute. What is that? How does the office do that?
It's generally the office staff. It'll be myself and someone of an opposite an opposite political party that will watch the destruction. We'll follow the truck down to, we're going to go with Jayhawk File Express under the state contract. We're going to follow them down to their building, watch the ballots all be destroyed. By statute, it's all in the statute that says that we shall destroy the ballots after 22 months for August and November elections, and after 6 months for spring elections. The commissioner and the assistant commissioner decided that since our mail ballots that we did in June of this year, we cannot do anything with until December of this year, we'd hold the other 15 ballots from the primary and the general of this year, and we'll do them at a date yet to be determined in January of 16.
Commissioner Bueller, questions?
No, I don't think I have any more.
Commissioner Archer?
No, I don't, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Is there a motion for this destruction?
Move to approve the destruction.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, commissioners.
Next item.
Item 3, consent agenda.
Are there any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer to approve the consent agenda as presented, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
The vouchers are totaling $1,278,064.26. Solid Waste and Recycling, a non-tax fund, has the largest amount with $759,537.66. That's as a result of the purchase of some trucks. Second is pooled cash with Kansas withholding being the largest amount, $88,396.72, and then holding account for the Kansas Director of Vehicles, $80,348.77. Have no questions. Move approval.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Bueller for approval of the vouchers as presented,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll make a motion to approve the correction orders,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B, Bond Council number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2015-84, expressing the intent of the Board of County Commissioners of Shawnee County, Kansas, to finance all or a part of the costs of certain county improvements under a supplement to a lease purchase agreement.
Good morning, Bob Perry. In March of this year, we issued some certificates of participation under a lease program in order to provide funds for Parks and Rec improvements, which basically were Cypress Ridge Golf improvements, the Shawnee County Golf Course, then the construction and installation of the aquatic park. There was also corrections improvements of up to $4 million, which represented the kitchen. And then there was a miscellaneous county infrastructure improvements to allow Betty and the commissioners to itemize which infrastructures needed to be repaired. Part of the aquatic park entails the buildings. One is the admission building, one is the pump building. At the end of the week before last, the design build team at the Parks and Rec Department were able to give me specific information regarding the size of these buildings and the estimated cost of these buildings. Before we can make those buildings part of the COP program and use the COP proceeds to pay for those, this resolution needs to be passed and approved, published once a week, 2 consecutive weeks, and then we can supplement the lease.
So, earlier we were talking about destruction, now we're talking about construction. So, specifically, this resolution is with the construction of the admissions building at the Southwest Aquatic Facility and the pump house at the aquatic facility, given that we are going to be building things with our certificate of participation, we're required to do publication.
Once a week for 2 consecutive weeks, correct. And the statute provides that if you're going to acquire a site or a building under a lease purchase program, it must be published once a week, 2 consecutive weeks, 30 days have to pass, and then we'll supplement the lease. And buildings mean foundation, walls, roofs.
Are there questions?
So will there, if I may, Mr. Chair, will there be other resolutions that come up to talk about the spray park at Dornwood? So this is this the only resolution you anticipate to come up?
From what I understand, the projects that are being financed by,
Right.
that's correct. Because we have specific 2 buildings. They're going to have to build foundations, plumbing to them. If we're going to do an addition to a building,
Yeah.
renovate a building, we don't have to do that there. But
Okay.
since we're building new buildings, we do.
And this is specifically for the aquatic park at 21st and Irish?
That's correct.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Bob, before I second, just a quick follow-up. What's the point of the publication? Are we inviting somebody to object? Are we just doing
The
this?
statute provides for a protest petition of more than 5% of the electorate that voted at the preceding general election for the Secretary of State's office. And that's what the 30-day period is for.
So the objection would be, we don't want you to have an admissions building or a pump house,
That would be specifically to the buildings, that's correct, Commissioner.
but not as to the actual facility.
Correct.
Commissioner Bueller?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure I understand the need for the resolution. I mean, we had,
Well, we cannot spend the COP proceeds under a lease purchase structure that we did in back in March,
okay,
without, for a building or a site, without this being passed and approved, published once a week, 2 consecutive weeks, and a 30-day period run.
okay.
The other projects were not buildings by the statutory definition and the case law definition.
So,
It's a little odd.
by using other certificates of participation for the Southwest Aquatic Facility, we are bound by statute to publish a resolution regarding the construction of any buildings. In short.
Yeah, a new building.
Well, and so I guess this kind of, I have a follow-up question then. I mean, I understand that there's a conditional use permit needed for construction of the pool and I guess the buildings as well. Does this have any bearing on that?
Not in my opinion. This is just a condition proceeding before you can spend the COP proceeds to build the building.
Okay.
And the way the statute reads, Shelley,
Yeah.
in my opinion, basically, you can spend the COP proceeds to start to do the groundwork. And
But not the buildings?
Even for the building.
Oh,
But you can't put the building up, you can't acquire anything for the building, to build the building, until the 30 days is run.
okay.
I'll second. Is there any further discussion?
I just read them, I don't know.
I know.
So, there's been a motion made by Commissioner Archer for the resolution regarding the notice requirements and publication for the for the lease purchase agreement. seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
I'm going to abstain.
Passes 2-0 with Commissioner Bueller abstaining. Thank you. Next item.
Item C, Sheriff's Office, number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C 385-2015 with Taser International for the purchase of 12 Taser Axon Flex body worn cameras with multi-mounting option kits and video storage at a cost of $17,836.75, funded by the 2015 Burn Justice Assistance Grant.
Good morning, Commissioners. Captain Hoover with the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. As stated, this is a purchase of more body cams for the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. We currently have approximately 84. We have one that's was provided in our initial contract just to have repairs, et cetera, so we have a spare. Then we made the purchase a couple months back for the reserve unit, and the U.S. Marshals bought us a couple through an agreement with them. This would bring our total to 96, which should put enough cameras on all of our officers that work the street, even those that don't work the street every single day. So this should outfit the entire agency with body-worn cameras. It is through the Burn Justice Assistance Grant. This is our portion. The city is using their portion, and the Department of Corrections has their portion yet. So if you have any questions.
Questions regarding? I'll move to approve the expenditure of the funds for using the 2015 Burn Justice Assistance Grant for the purchase of 12 Taser Axon Flex body worn cameras.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you very much, Captain.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item.
Item D, Corrections, number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C 386-2015 with the University of Kansas Center for Research, Inc. for the development and implementation of positive behavior support to train and certify juvenile justice professionals to develop and implement PBS and plan for individuals with challenging behavior at a cost of $35,000 for 2 years, paid from the Juvenile Detention Facilities Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Department of Corrections. This is the second part of a program that we have started over this past year that was approved earlier by the Commission. And this is a program that helps us to establish the instruction, I guess it goes along with the destruction and construction of what we're doing today, of those juvenile offenders to have better thinking, making better decisions, that we can train our staff on how to implement better systems. It goes right along with our Juvenile Attention Alternative initiative that helps us to implement those programs for juvenile offenders that will allow them to stay in school longer, that will allow them to get meaningful employment, to help reduce reoffending, things like that. Before we went into this program, this is a lot of money, and this is given to us by the Kansas Department of Corrections for these types of programs, and we have to provide a budget to them, and they have to approve, and they were on board with this program for us. That this program is, before I wanted to go forward, I wanted to see that it was evidence-based. I wanted to see measurements. I wanted to see how success was being measured, and I wanted to see the successes. And we're seeing these programs implemented here in our local schools. We're seeing them in other jails. We're seeing the results. We're seeing positive results when it comes to reduced population. We're seeing less reoffending, and we're seeing kids that are staying in school longer, and they're getting meaningful employment. I'm on board with this 100%. Like I said, we had to provide a budget to the Kansas Department of Corrections to let them know what we're going to use this money for. This is a very good program. I've talked and reached out and networked to other people who are using this. They're on board as well, and I think this really enhances our services to our juvenile population. So with that, I'd stand for any questions you may have.
Any questions regarding the education of positive behavior? I'll make a motion to approve. This has been a project that is beneficial. We've seen this and implemented in several different ways, starting with just how do we work within the modules, how do we work with our corrections officers. We see that in a physical with the garden, with the mural wall, with some of the rewards and behaviors and programs that we have within the Department of Corrections, and so hopefully we can make a measurable impact and stem any
Absolutely.
sort of reoffense.
Absolutely.
So,
Second,
motion made by
Well.
Commissioner Cook,
and well put.
second by Commissioner Archer. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you very much. Next item.
Item E, Audit Finance. Number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2015-85, establishing the Shawnee County Ethics Hotline and adopting procedures for receiving, investigating, and acting upon concerns and complaints.
Good morning, Andrea Forbes, Shawnee County Internal Auditor. Following up on your approval of the Lighthouse contract to establish the ethics hotline, I am requesting your approval for the resolution to establish the hotline, and then as well as the procedures for receiving any reports. The new resolution will establish the reporting hotline, and it also indicates that it's to be operated by an independent company to ensure that the reports can remain anonymous. It also provides a brief explanation of the procedures in regards to responding to and keeping records of the reports received. And then it also emphasizes that no employee shall be subject to retaliation for making a report. If the resolution is approved, I will begin distributing posters. This is the one that we've developed. It will go to all departments to be displayed. The hotline information will then be added to the intranet for employees, and then the internet for others. I will also be sending out an email blast to all Shawnee County employees, and we will also plan to add it to the annual employee certification so that they can acknowledge that they've received this information. We've already requested that the hotline information be added to the new employee orientation and also to open enrollment. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions regarding our procedures for investigations?
I think
I was just going to say, I think this is a really good idea. I've said this before, and I think when Commissioner Cook starts listing the achievements that he had in his term as chair, this will be one. This will be a definite achievement for the county for the year 2015. So I strongly in favor of it and make a motion to approve the resolution.
I just have a question, though. It does list the investigation of complaints, and it outlines the steps then that are taken.
It's brief. It kind of explains, submission that and when you call to report it, provide as much detail as possible so that an investigation can be done. It also states that the internal auditor would decide if there was enough information to proceed with an investigation, and if other parties need to be involved, such as human resources or the counselor, then that would also be done as well.
Thank you.
I'm going to second. This is something that, quite frankly, I hope that we never have a report from. We hope that all of our employees are acting and behaving in a professional manner that would never warrant this to be used. But at the same time, we think that it is important to have in place policies that allow for the reports to be made without repercussions, being able to know that you can make the call even if there's nothing to it, that it can be investigated, and maybe there will be policy changes. Maybe it's not. Many times the appearance of something being improper is as bad as it actually being improper. And so who knows where this is going to direct the county in the future. But it is something that is a benefit to the county, and I'm going, that's the reason for the second. Any further discussion? Motion made by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item E2, excuse me, consider authorization and execution of contract C-387-2015 with Pride for uniform services and cleaning items for the following county departments: Parks and Recreation, Public Works, Solid Waste, Facilities Maintenance, Health Agency, and the Weed Department for the period of October 2015 to December 31st, 2019.
Good morning. Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. Just as a refresher, we formed a committee with members of all the departments that use uniforms and, of course, the county clerk's office because they process those invoices. The committee went out, they drafted an RFP and then reviewed those. They made a recommendation to the commission to award the contract to AmeriPride for all of those departments other than the jail because they did not have the uniforms that the jail needed. The commission voted to award the bid to AmeriPride back in August, on August 14th. This is the contract for that, so we're coming to you with the contract. It is a 4-year contract. I do ask for one change on that. On that first paragraph, we need to change the beginning date to January 1, 2016. As I say, it's a 4-year contract ending December 31st of 2019. So I would ask for approval with that date change.
Any questions? Betty, I know that these are things that are long overdue. We've talked about doing this for a significant period of time on how we can maximize our resources, and really having this contract, it's going to see some savings to the county. I know that oftentimes we're talking about, again, things that aren't high dollar, but they do add up. And so I think, again, thank you for your services and your office and your department going through and being able to get this put together. So,
I just have one question. The reason for the 4-year versus, I mean, usually we've done 3 or 5 or.
Well, that was just the recommendation of the committee. We go
No,
with
it's
the 4-year
good.
term.
We don't have
Mhm.
to talk about it. December of 19.
Yeah.
So, a second. Did you make a motion?
I did. I'll make a motion to approve the contract, seconded by Commissioner Bueller,
I'm sorry,
Yes.
with the date.
with the date
With
change
date
modified.
Thank you.
So, motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Passes 3-0. Okay, next item.
Item F, Commission, number 1, consider appointment of Fred Henderson Jr. to the Community Corrections Advisory Board for a 2-year term expiring June 30th, 2017.
We did have an opening with the Shawnee County Community Corrections Board. Mr. Henderson Jr. did indicate that he would be willing to serve on the board. He comes with recommendations for this appointment. I would move for his appointment to the Community Corrections Advisory Board.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Next item.
Item F2, consider reappointment of Tom Moses to the Metropolitan Topeka Airport Authority for a 3-year term expiring November 30th, 2018.
Again, Commissioner Archer.
Mr. Moses is my appointment to the MTAA, and I've spoken to him on a few occasions since that. He's enthusiastic about the opportunity to serve, and he feels like he's made a difference. And so I enthusiastically support his reappointment to the MTAA.
Motion made by
Second.
Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
This is an opportunity if any department heads have any items to bring to the Commission's attention.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Blunt with Public Works and Solid Waste. I just wanted to give you an update on the 4 additional landowners that we became aware of at the Willard Bridge site. We have made contact now with all 4, including the gentleman who lives in Minnesota. They have now all verbally agreed to our offer, so the paperwork has been sent out to all of them. So hopefully we're anxiously waiting that return with the signed quitclaim deeds. So hopefully that will be all squared away in the next week or so.
All right,
Very
great.
good.
Thank you, Tom. Any other administrative communications this morning? Commissioner Bueller.
Don't know that I have anything, other than going back to the action of appointing the people to the boards. There are numerous boards that we appoint to, and I know that Jane keeps a rolling list. And so we encourage and appreciate everybody who serves on the boards that we have an opportunity to participate in, but then also encourage people to serve. And there are numerous, and they're on our website, aren't they, Jane?
I'm not sure.
I think they are, but again, anybody who's interested in getting involved in a volunteer, none of them are paid positions, but I think it's important to let the public know that there are those opportunities. So.
Jane, I think that maybe that would be maybe something if you could check into whether or not our appointments are on the county's commission part of the website, and if not, if we could work with IT to add that. Because there are a lot of appointments. There's a lot of boards that we have. Some, meet very regularly. Some meet on quarterly bases, and so some of them are taxing entities, some are non-taxing entities,
Right.
but all are
Right.
important.
Yeah.
And so, if we could publicize, we are still taking applications for the Expo Center Advisory Board. So if there are members of the public who have an interest, if you live outside of the city limits but reside within Shawnee County and have an interest in serving on the Expo Center Advisory Board, this is the board that advises the Expo Center on policies, procedures, upcoming events, programming, this would be your opportunity. And we would take applications here at the office in the Board of County Commissioners, and it's through the end of this month, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Commissioner Archer, anything?
Well, and sadly, they look at a lot of maintenance and capital improvement items. Let's don't paint too rosy a picture of the Expo Center Board. That's all I had. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We will be meeting on Monday. Monday is Columbus Day. Typically, with our county holidays, the courts are closed, but the courthouse is open. So don't let that deter you. If you are off work and have something you wish to do, come on down. We'd love to see you at 9 a.m. on Monday. And I'm sure the chambers will be overflowing. Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 6, executive session.
There is no need for an executive session today. We are adjourned.